Did you find the music?
His private teacher.
Okay, I'm not supposed to discuss the whole private teacher, but however you found this music, the person's worth their weight in gold, because it's so nice to hear a saxophone piece written for saxophone played at an appropriate level. You know, I've been listening to a lot of different things, and my questioning is, you know, why did you choose that piece? But this was an awesome piece and an awesome piece for you. The only comments that I would have to say is this saraband, to me, was almost too fast. You have such great control, and you can use the vibrato so nicely. It would have been, I kept wanting you to slow it down. Number one, to contrast with the first movement, to me it almost seemed like it was the same tempo. And the first movement's a moderato, the saraband is a largo. And I could listen to it slower and a little bit more introspective. But that's just an interpretation thing, that whatever you did, it was beautiful. You might try it slower and see how you feel with that. And the mezzo pianos and piano, it's all very it's very thoughtful. Likewise, the contrast between the second movement and the fourth movement, they both were faster. And I think you have the maturity to make an even bigger difference between the style. These are both dances. The style of an allemande. You might look that up on Google and see if you can find somebody actually doing that dance and how that compares with the jig. Because the allemande is more regal. It is fast, but it uses the syncopation pattern, beep ba ba bum, beep ba ba bum. Whereas the jig is really quite a bit faster, and a little bit lighter. And it would have been interesting to have heard had you watched the dances?
You want us to do it?
No, I'm actually going on Google and seeing if you can find a recording, because there's people who do this kind of dancing.
Yeah. And
find out, okay, what does an allemande look like? What's the important part? And the big important part is 2 and 4. Okay? And a jig is sort of a single person dancing, and has a skipping rhythm to it. And I think if you use that in your interpretation and how you played it, you would have lightened up on the jig, and it would have been a little bit faster, and you would have been on the allemande, which is allegro marcato. It's more march-like. So it's the difference between marching and skipping. And I'm only saying this because you did everything else so beautifully, I have to come up with something. But those are things that I would say you're ready to look at, because that's where the piece goes with that. Very nice job.